Hello and welcome to the world of company secretaries, season number 2. Thank you very much for all your support. Season 1 was a huge success, and joining me is Santhosh Kumar. Hello Santhosh and welcome to the world of company secretaries.
Hi Alok, thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
No, we should thank you for your time, and this episode on season 2 is going to be very interesting. So we are going to enter the world of investment banking. This is going to be very, very interesting and a lot of motivation for all of you who have an idea that, okay, even a company secretary can get into this. So before we even get there, Santhosh, we always ask the first question for all our guests. How did you get to know about company secretary course and why did you take it?
Okay, this was introduced by one of my accounts lecturer. So basically, I was doing my BBM and then accounts coming from a science background, we weren't well versed with accounts. So I used to go for tuitions. So that's where I got introduced with respect to company secretaries and chartered accountancy. So basically, I could not go for engineering. You might have a question after studying science, why did you go for engineering? My marks weren't that good.
Okay.
And then couldn't afford the management fees. So I ended up with BBM, but however, I really want to do something professional course. That's when this was introduced by my accounts lecturer.
Okay, great. So if everyone who's watching it, it's a journey which most of you might have gone through, that is not having clarity about what is CS, but there'll be some person, it could be a teacher, it could be a friend who has introduced it to you. And very interesting is Santhosh has a background in science, that is +2. Then he did his BBM, then LLB, and of course company secretary. And that is why he's on our show today. So Santhosh, tell us a little bit about when you finished CS and all of that. Did you even have an idea that, okay, investment banking could be an option when you finished CS?
So I did not have enough exposure. Coming from a tier 2 city, we will not have as much exposure as a tier 1 city people who are studying in Mumbai, Bangalore or Delhi would have. But however, just to give a little bit more background as to how I ended up here or how I got introduced. So if you know securities laws and economics laws that you have in intermediate, that's actually gives you some exposure towards investment bank and how derivatives are traded, all the basic concepts. So that was my very interesting subject, and then I wanted to do something related to that, but however, we didn't have enough exposure. But however, one thing I understood was I need to end up in bank. If I have to go through that, I have to end up in bank. And then I started my career or else my management trainee in a bank.
Okay, that's very interesting. So for everyone thinking that CS management training should be done only in certain types of listed companies or a practicing CS, that is not true at all. Like Santhosh said, his training in a bank actually helped him to eventually get into a company or investment banking, which is a MNC. He has worked with big brands like HSBC. Right now he's working in a tier 1 MNC investment bank. So this is not a small thing and it's a really huge achievement. But before that, again, we want to just get a little bit of picture about generally what is your role now. Like for people, investment bank, they'll just know the name. But if you can give us a little insights into that.
Okay, so within investment bank, every multinational investment bank or even a domestic big investment banks, so you'll have something called markets and securities. So markets is basically where you sell the financial products, just like in any other different markets or industries, there would be selling something in that particular market. Whereas in here, financial products, we sell the financial products. So again, banking being really a huge industry, so it has to be classified into different products. So currently, I'm into forex, rates and currencies. So here, within the derivative world, within under the markets department, so we would be providing hedging solutions, and also we would be, me being a legal person, we would be advising other stakeholders, business, who would be dealing with different products like structured products, finance linked transactions, giving hedging. All this happens usually with really big companies, corporates, and for us the portfolio, when you say the portfolio of clients or the counterparty types, it would be financial institutions, it would be big corporates or any other banks would be our clients.
Okay, great. So for everyone who is watching this, the first thing you need to understand is it is possible. That is the first thing you should realize as a student of company secretary course. And like Santhosh said, there are some subjects in the executive program which gives you that initial foundation or initial introduction. Also, we have 4X basics in CS professional, executive and all of that. So can you tell us a little bit about how did the CS course help you? Of course, you have done BBM, you have done law, and it's a combination of everything that that is making you land wherever you are right now. But how did the CS course in particular help you?
Okay, so the CS, as you're, if you're aware, like it gives you a good blend of law subjects. Also, it gives you good understanding of the accounting and financial management. So it gives you a really good blend, like what lawyers will study, also what MBA students will study, and some part of what chartered accountants or the BCom or MCom students will study. When you compare the BBM or law against the CS, the thing is like even in law and BBM, you study most of those subjects that is there in CS. But what you need to understand is the level of depth, or else how advanced it is. The main difference would be like even though the subjects are there in BBM and LLB, the same subjects over here are much more advanced. That actually gives you more grip when you start working, or else like if you have to crack interview with any of the bigger corporates, law firms or banks. That is what gives you an edge over other people.
Santhosh, that's really interesting to know. That we'll again go a little bit deeper here, especially because all our students are the primary audience and they just know that the word investment bank is there. Most of them feel that this is like a very far-fetched dream. It is impossible for us to do it. And you shared that you were from a tier 2 city and initially exposure was not there. But end of the day, with hard work, you have come here. So what is your message for people who are there? They may be tier 1, tier 2, whatever, but they don't have that belief that, yes, I can go to an investment bank. So what do you have to say to them?
Okay. Basically, it's about like for each person, the area of interest would be different. As I said, like the CS gives you a really good balance of law as well as the financial subjects. So it depends on what is that interests you. Like you want to go on the legal side or you want to go on the finance side. So within the investment bank, yes, like investment bank is one of the sector where it gives you lucrative salaries. But then like within investment bank, again, like it's like an ocean, whether you want to be on the business side, whether you want to be on the legal side, whether you want to be on the risk side. So there are many stakeholders within an investment bank. Like any other industry or any other corporate, wherein the different teams or department come closer to make it one big corporate. Similarly, the same thing works in an investment bank also. But if you want to get into an investment bank, you also need to be clear which side you should be within the investment bank, whether you should be a part of operations, whether you should be a part of legal or on the risk side or on the business side. But everybody will share one thing that would be like a common understanding of how the investment bank works. The basic concept would still remain, but you specialize on certain things. So that is something that you should have. And then like if you know your favorite subject or if you know your area of interest, you just need to build on it and move forward. Another thing would be it's about the exposure. If I hadn't gone out of this city, then I don't think I could have landed over here. So that is also the most important thing. It's the exposure. If you can get into any of the training, management training or any internship, or if you can make a good networking with the people who are already there, it may not happen, even though it may not happen now, sometime down the line it will definitely happen.
Sure. So whatever the summary that I could gather for every student here is, if you really want to, you can do it. There are ways to do it, and like Santhosh said, it is not going to happen overnight, but definitely with sustained efforts you can do it. Now let us go back a little, jog back the memory to your days as a student. See, now that you're here, okay, you have achieved everything and there's a long career ahead also. But as a student, were there any struggles you faced? What were the challenges you had? I'm sure you will have some memories.
Of course, the first thing that I would pick is like we weren't introduced to something like this except school. Like if you fail in one subject, you have to write everything. So this is something I really struggled. But it's a really good thing because that's how you have to, like, when you actually achieve something or when you clear something, you need to be good thoroughly with a complete concept, like as a whole. A CS should be taken as one whole subject and not like different subjects. So usually in degree, like, okay, you may have a hold on one or two particular subject, but this particular system, what they try to achieve is like they try to bring that balance. I'm like, no matter how good you are with one particular subject, but at least there is a at least minimum requirement that is there, that you should be good with the other subject also, wherein like you strike that balance and then you have to clear it in one shot. That is something that I struggle because like when I failed in one or two subjects, like with like one digit number, it was not so great to take it. Like I had to write all together all the other subjects which I have cleared. So that was my great struggle.
Yeah. So for people who are watching it, everybody goes through this. It is not just you, because as a student you feel only my life is miserable and only I have to go through the different struggles. Like Santhosh shared his problem with the aggregate thing. Each one has a struggle. It could be our guests on this interview show or our students or yourself. But please understand that this is part of being a student and the end result will be definitely something good. Next, let us talk a little bit about articleship or training. So training is one of the important aspects, or it is integral to CS. Like in other courses, you just write exams, you get the degree. But in our CS, it is the exams plus the training. So you had a choice not to go for training also, since you had LLB background, but why did you choose training? First question. And second is, what were the things you learned there?
So my honest answer would be like, see, when you clear LLB, you have to go on roll. You'll not get something like training, or you'll not be posted in any of the big corporates or big banks so easily, unless you're coming from any of the national law schools or big tier 1 law schools. If you have the CS, you have one thing, one advantage would be like, as a management trainee, any of these big corporates or banks will be looking for the trainee from the CS side, which will open up some exposure for you to understand how it works in these big banking industries or investment bank. Wherein like even though you have done your LLB from any of the tier 2 or tier 3 colleges, however, if you have at least CS, if you completed CS intermediate, at that point of time I used to call it intermediate, I don't know.
No, it's executive.
Executive, okay, sorry. So if you've done that, so you'll have scope to enter into any of the big corporate or banks, and then you can start understanding. You would be at the head office level, registered office level, and you start understanding. That will open up many things for you to understand how it works and where you want to go, or if it's as per your area of interest. So this is what I would like to say.
Great. So there are 2 points for students to really take note of. The first one being, especially if you're LLB, lot of LLB students ask us, sir, I finished LLB, should I go for training? I'll go directly for LLB practice. But as Santhosh said, the exposure which you get as a CS management training is really great. And second point which I liked is, from day one you'll get a lot of exposure in big companies or big firms, and you don't have the risk of being an employee because you're still learning as a student. So you should definitely consider that. So now that we understood a little bit about the CS training and what were the issues and how you can navigate that, let us get into, I think you had a beautiful experience of all kinds of things. You have worked in different kinds of sectors, but finally you landed in investment banking, and in that particularly derivative contracts. So how did you make that break? If you can also tell us a little bit about what were the other kind of sectors or industries you worked in, how did that help you over here?
So let me come to the last point first. So other industry that I worked, like after completion of my BBM, I was working with Accenture. So that was for about an year I worked. But then like, yes, it was a BPO. However, I had my dreams, so I'm like complete my professional course, be it law or CS. So that is the only industry that I worked outside the banking industry. And coming to the other question, so When I was working in ING Vaishya, that is where I did my management trainee, around 6 months or so, I started getting exposure as to like which banks actually does these trade in these products, which banks are the one which are high volumes of these derivative products. Whereas like not many domestic banks have this much of high volume and different types of products that are traded. It's only these MNC banks. MNC, when I say, it's usually US and UK banks,
UK.
which does a lot of this. And then there are some certain other exceptions like Deutsche Bank, German Bank, and things like that. But however, if you see any of the big investment banks, it's usually US banks. So that's when I understood. And then like again in Bangalore, you have many investment banks, but then like it's morely on the operations side. The front office is all mostly located in Mumbai. So at that point of time, I did not had so much exposure as to I should move to Mumbai and where does it happen and all that, unless somebody actually gives you that exposure. So when I was searching for my next job, like I was not interested to continue with that particular bank as a company secretary. I wanted to be more on the trading side, or else supporting the traders who to work closely with the traders. So that's when I understood that I can't make my career in this bank, this domestic bank. Yes, it was a collaboration with Deutsche Bank. But however, it was mostly a domestic bank, and if I had to move forward in in my area of interest, then it has to be one of the big MNCs. So that's when like I actually started looking for jobs. It was almost like 6 months of searching, and then like I got into HSBC.
Okay, so for people who are watching this, it's definitely not an easy journey. As Santhosh has shared very candidly, it is a journey where you discover things. It is not that from day one he knew about this. As he said that it was gradually, he did his training, and incidentally it was in a bank, it was a domestic bank, but then that exposure made him realize that maybe a MNC or a US or a UK or any big investment bank would be the right way, and slowly he gradually got into HSBC. I'm sure if you are watching this, the main thing you need to understand is that everybody has a journey which starts with one single step and finally it goes to something really great. So in this again, Santhosh, little bit about the interview process in HSBC. Do you think your CS qualification helped, or like how was that?
Yes, I would say straightforward, yes. The CS qualification definitely helped me. Because when although they were asking like basic question, for a pure law graduate, it may be quite intimidating. But if you're coming from any of this professional course, CA or CS, you have already read about it, you know what is what with respect to derivatives and all that. So you are placed much better than any of the law graduate who come from a tier 2 or tier 3 colleges. Why I say it's because like for us, at least for me, like coming from tier 3 law college or from the tier 2 city, it's about the exposure. It's not about how intelligent you are, how much marks you score. It's about exposure. When you're not exposed to it, you'll not know it, even though you may have a theoretical knowledge. But when you're going for an interview, some of the cross question or like things like that, you may not know. It should come in a fraction of a second. But CS or any of these professional courses makes you prepare thoroughly. You have a really good grip over it. And yes, that definitely helped me crack the interview.
So for people who are watching this, there's one point which I want to make. In CS course, throughout the course, you study like around 8 subjects in executive and final around 9 subjects. Okay, in the new syllabus, it could be one more or less. That's not important. But when you look at the sheer number of laws or acts, we study economic laws, security laws, company law, taxation, a little bit of management, financial management. So you are studying at least 40 to 50 different acts.
Yeah.
And in that, somebody like Santhosh has chosen to specialize in not even the act, but one very specific thing in a derivative contract. So the sky's the limit is what people who are watching this should realize, that any area of your interest, like even Santhosh was mentioning, you should chase that and aim for the stars. You will definitely reach there. So a little bit about the work. See, now that main thing is you are qualified as a company secretary, but your role is nowhere close to what a company secretary does, but the knowledge of CS has helped you somewhere.
Yes.
So can you tell us right now, like in your last so many years of experience, how the CS knowledge has helped you in your day-to-day work?
Okay, that's a very good question. So, when we are onboarding a client or when we have to do a due diligence, we have to go through their constitutive formative documents. That's basically MOA and AOA. So you guys know when you're studying company law and related laws, how much important that is, like incorporation of a company, what documents is required. So mine is a regional role, mine is not a country-specific role. So when you're part of the regional role, obviously each country has a different law and each country, the company formation is different. But however, somewhere it all falls down to some basics.
Principles are similar.
Yeah, principles are similar. So when we are onboarding a new client and when we have to give the clearance, whether they have the authority, whether they have the capacity to trade on certain products, so you have to go through their constitutive and formative documents. That's mostly your MOA, AOA, or similar document that you have to go through. You need to understand the purpose, object of the company, and you need to also see the restrictions and all that. So, as a company secretary, you would have a really good hand. Like, I don't think like in LLB for us, we studied so in depth the company law or the related laws. We studied so in depth. Whereas in company secretary, of course, you do. Even the due diligence subjects or the ethics subjects that you do will give you a really good flavor of how to do certain due diligence relating to these things. That is one part. And the other part, like obviously you are involved in big contracts, so the execution is very important. Like how do you proofread the documents, how do you check the authority, be it your board resolutions, when you have to go through the board resolutions, whether the person has authority to sign it or is there any mistake that has been done. We do come across many times like business people or the risk would come to us asking like we have certain doubts on the authority check. Could you kindly explain it to us if the person had authority? So yes, I mean like when they are executing a documents relating to product specific, and if you're dealing with a really big company, there will be many directors and there will be many other person who are authorized to trade on certain products. And there may be many confusions that may arise. So only with a good legal knowledge or having these technical knowledge, you can interpret and decipher these things. So in that way, definitely your CS will help. And even today, it's helping me when I actually do these checks. Definitely, yes.
So for everyone watching this, it's a really detailed answer. And what I really liked, it's something else also a lot of you ask in comments. That is, do we really have scope for CS course? I think as a professional, it may seem a funny question for us, but for a student, it is a valid question. Like Santhosh said, though his role is nowhere close to what a company secretary does, but all the knowledge, as he explained, is definitely something which he uses. Not only him, generally, when we study all these different subjects, end of the day, corporate law, economic laws is what we study. And everything in business is relating to corporate law and economic laws, security laws. So you will have a very good demand if your knowledge is sound. So next, let us try to understand a little more about what are the opportunities in investment banking. Santhosh, one thing is to actually break into this club of investment banking. That is one thing. Second thing is, now that you are here and everyone who is watching this, they're all students. What do you think is the pinnacle, or where can somebody like you reach in terms of the growth opportunities?
So currently I'm a senior counsel in this investment bank, and then like up the line would be have a chance to become a associate general counsel and then senior general counsel, and then like you would be heading some of the regional team as a legal counsel. So you would be going somewhere at the managing director level, and then also you would be heading a particular region. So for me, the scope would be mostly on the Asia Pacific region, because from the beginning I have worked on the Asia Pacific side.
Great. So for everyone watching this, international opportunities is one question a lot of you ask, and here it is definitely there because all these transactions are international in nature, and sky is the limit. of course, he has told different positions and where a person can reach. But in my understanding, sky is the limit. It definitely boils down to your hard work and how you're taking it forward. So for as a student, if you feel that there is no scope, I think all these myths have been answered with this one single statement just now. Sure. Next thing is you may be feeling, okay, even I'm interested, let me also go in the same path which Santhosh has done. So let us ask him a little bit about what do these banks actually look for? Like what do they look in the new recruits in terms of knowledge, confidence overall? Names like Citi or HSBC, what do they look for?
Okay. So straightforward, I can't say whether CS, they look for people having a CS with law degree. I can't say yes or no for that, but I can give you a more descriptive answer. Most of these tier 1 banks, they look for national law school students. But however, like a person like me or many other persons over there, if you have a really good knowledge on the subject line, like derivatives or any other banking products, finance related subject matter, if you are really good with it, and CS is one of the plus point, even though you don't come with a national law school, if you're not a national law school pass out. So this definitely gives you an edge because they understand clearing CS is not as easy as passing the law in other colleges. National law school, first of all, like they will filter it out at the beginning itself.
Yeah.
If you joined any other law school without any entrance exam and you cleared it, CS is not that easy to clear it and get out of it. Joining is easy, even in CS, but it's not easy to get out of it.
Correct.
So definitely for a recruiter, it is definitely a plus point, even though you don't have a national law school degree or a tag. You have a CS and then you're good with a subject, what they're looking for, that's all is required. So there is no hard and fast rule other than that I understand.
Great. So for everyone who's watching this, you may feel that yes, not just in investment banking, even a lot of you tell in listed companies, we should come from a certain college. So these are not norms. It is for any field, but especially even for us. If you are good enough and if you have the confidence, knowledge, and if you are ready, just like Santhosh shared, I think it's a matter of time. You should just be working on yourself, and I'm sure that opportunity will knock on your doors. Sure. So by now you may be thinking that, okay, even I'll get into investment banking, but it is a journey which needs a right path for you to go. So Santhosh, can you please share with us, I'm sure many of them would have first of all got the idea that, okay, as a CS, even this is an option if I work hard. But as someone who's already done this and you're in a pretty senior position, can you tell them like few steps, not the exact step, but at least 4 or 5 steps on what you think they should do from now as a student, which can give them a chance that they can also achieve this?
Okay. So if you don't want to practice and you want to land in banking or any other corporate or bigger corporates or really like Fortune 500 companies or things like that. So the first thing for you being a lawyer or a CS student, the most important would be understanding the contract laws. That is the most important thing so far, like what I've understood. So everything revolves around it. Be it your drafting skill, be it your contract knowledge, this is the most basic. Over and above, you start building on your technical knowledge on the financial products or any other products that you'll be dealing with in a particular industry. So other than that, I don't think, and all this actually starts like once you enter it, which product or which product line that you are landed, based on that you start building it. But basically, if you're a fresher and you want to crack into any of the big corporate or bank or financial institution, the questions that they would ask mostly on the contract laws.
Great. So for everyone watching this, contract law is there part of your syllabus. So make sure that you become perfect with contract laws. That forms the basic, or what we can call as the base or foundation. Of course, everything else is around that. Santhosh, one more thing is like, these are the hard skills or technical skills which you mentioned. Can you tell us a little bit about the soft skills? Because this is one more huge lacuna which CS students especially are facing, where they're not able to match with other students when it comes to soft skills.
Okay, yes. definitely soft skill is like super important when it comes to your MNC or big corporates or banks. Definitely soft skill. They do analyze you on the soft skill other than your technical skills. One would be you being fluent with respect to English, and then it's not just about the language. Also, like you should be able to communicate fluently, and then uh, the thought process should be very clear. Second, they try to understand how good you are with people or how good your client management skill would be. There may be some questions around it. Once you enter these industries, your client management is very, very important. The way you communicate with others, the way you liaise with others, because you'll be liaising with many stakeholders. So this is one of the most important thing, the client management, because at the end of the day, they are the revenue generators. So if you're not good with your clients, then it's not impossible, you're losing the business. So on the soft skill, that is one of the most important thing.
So usually because soft skills is what gets neglected, or we don't give it the same importance as we would do for, let's say, learning the company law or contract law or anything. I'm sure you know about this. It's not some new news we are giving to you, but it's basically stressing the point that soft skills is, if not more important, but at least equally important as hard skills for you to break into big companies and big organizations, because end of the day you have to deal with people.
And
yes,
in the same line, what I would like to say is, like, I understand that the CS students may not be going to college, or unlike other college students, they may not be involved in presentations and things. Not everybody. It's optional for you guys. But to acquire these soft skills, I would say you need to be involved with some or the other, like be it college function, or like even the CS will have some functions, you be involved in that. So that preparation goes on. The way you will be liaising with your other people, all these are soft skills. So that's how you start improving on it. It's not just technical or subject thing. When you're like dealing with, when you're presenting something, or when you're dealing with a client, or when you're doing your internship, or else like even like group studies or things like that, that's when your soft skills is built. So if you're studying in silo and just taking the marks, it will be difficult to crack certain interviews, because they definitely see how good you are with soft skills equal to your technical knowledge.
true. In fact, as Santhosh was mentioning that, I remember very recently one of the CS rank student met me, and she was telling me, sir, in personally I can tell you, I have got a rank, but I'm not at all confident. All my friends feel that, oh, she's got a rank, she's going to get a job, but when I go to interviews, I'm not able to pass. So rank or just passing the exam will not help. As we have just mentioned, soft skills is very important. So we are coming to the kind of last part of this interview. So we won't ask you too much about your work or derivatives, but as a student, because you told even you had certain challenges as a student, for people who are studying right now, what would your advice be? I know it's been quite a while since you have cleared the exam, but what's your advice to them about how they should face the CS exam, or any tips which you would like to share?
Okay, first thing is like if you're confident enough with the subject matter, if you've done your work, I'm like, if you really work hard, and if you're thorough with it, like, you just need to you just need to be calm, like before the exam. And then another thing is like after every exam, don't worry so much about the next paper. Like this didn't go well, I may not, even though like I prepare well for my next paper, what if I don't get aggregate? Don't think like that. What's done is done. Like, give your best for the next paper. Sometimes with me, what used to happen is that if a particular paper didn't go well, so I used to think like, even though I prepare very well for the next paper, I don't think I'll be able to get the aggregate. But then like I would have got it. So this is something I would say on exam side. Otherwise, like try to have a really good balance with respect to your favorite activities, be it the sports or any other activities. And this is just a part and parcel of your life, but then like this is not the whole life, studying and taking the marks, or like landing in something corporate or bank. There should also be something like your favorite. If that and your professional both can be same, nothing like that. But what I would say is like just strike the good balance.
Sure. So one thing which I really liked over here is striking that balance. So talking about that, we would like to ask you, so you're based out of Mumbai, and one of the busiest cities, and the job is definitely demanding. So how do you unwind, or what are your ways to relax?
So one thing I regularly do is like I hit the gym, and then like my favorite would be a run. So I usually go for a run, including like sometimes I aim to finish my marathons. I have finished marathons. Other than that, like I love cooking, so that is again my pastime or relieve stress with respect to my work. Yeah, these are the.
So I should mention this. So I've been one of the persons who have been fortunate enough to eat the food cooked by Santhosh. Is definitely one of the best chefs, I should say, not just to cook, really good, very tasty food. So I hope that if you meet him in Mumbai, you should ask him for a dinner or lunch where he cooks. Anyway, that was a really nice interview, Santhosh. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a
So
lot.
Santhosh has joined us, and he shared everything about right from his days of being a student. And what I really liked is he was very clear in how you can too follow his suit, and how you can get into investment banking, if not exactly derivative contracts, but anything relating to a big corporate or investment banking is possible. You need not be from a Tier 1 city, you need not be from a Tier 1 law college, because many students tell that it is possible. If you work consistently and work hard, results will come. So Santhosh, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks.
It was a great time. I'm sure many students will be inspired by your journey.
I
and
hope
we
it will
hope
be some help.
we hope that we also have another session with you where
Sure.
About your work and the exact technical things we can discuss
Sure.
sometime. So that was the end of the first episode of Season 2 of the World of Company Secretaries. Please make sure that you share this video, share Santhosh's story, that more people can get inspired, and do subscribe to our channel. We have this dedicated channel for the interviews, and make sure that you share it with your friends. Thank you very much, and any questions, please do let it know in the comments. Thank you.